All right, we're good.
All right, thanks, Fred. Welcome everyone to the October 11th Groundwater Advisory Committee meeting. This open meeting of the Groundwater Advisory Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, an act relative to ending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on July 16th, 2022. All members of the Groundwater Advisory Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The Act allows Groundwater Advisory Committee to meet remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed in the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. Unless such participation is required by law, this meeting will not feature public comment. I'd like to confirm folks are all here. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Brian Furman.
Here.
Anthony Zeiton.
Here.
And I'm Scott Rogers. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. Also from staff, we have Fred Litchfield.
Here.
Thank you very much. First order of business on the committee is to consider the petition of David Cooley for a variance for reconstruction of the single family structure on the property located at 80 Main Street, map 64, parcel 23, in the Main Street Residential Zoning District and Groundwater Protection Overlay District, Area 3. David, welcome. Just check your mic that we can hear you okay.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
That sounds great. So thanks for joining us this evening. And I think I'll turn things over to you to explain the project and what brings you before us tonight.
Sounds great, Scott. I appreciate it. And for those who don't know me, my name is David Cooley, and I own Blue Water rental properties located here in Northborough. I'm also a Northborough resident as well. So about 6 months ago, I had purchased this property along with several other properties from a family in town. And what I'm trying to do, and I know Scott had already said it, but I'll just reiterate it, is I'm looking to rehabilitate a single family structure remaining within the same footprint and restore it to a habitable, property. So what I'd like to do is, take the property down, rebuild it, same footprint. Scott has some, displays or whatnot of it. I don't know if you can put that up on the screen or not, or Fred, I don't know who controls that.
Typically the applicant does that, but let me see if I can get them.
I've got it up on my screen. I don't know how is there a way for me to add it?
I can give you the ability to share screen if you want to. That would be good. It makes it a little bit easier for me. Let's try that. Try it now. No?
Is that working or no?
I'm not seeing it yet.
It's showing up on my screen. Do I just pull it into it or?
You have to go down the bottom and click the share screen button. A little green button, maybe? Is it green in the kind of the middle of the bottom of the screen?
Yep.
It should say share screen, so then it will share whatever you have on there. So anything you don't want people to see, make sure it's not on there. There you go. Now we can see your list of things on your screen.
Okay.
Pick one.
Yeah, I picked one and dragged it over, so it's not.
Oh, Dave, the monitor that's being shared is the one showing Windows Explorer file manager. So we're seeing a list of files. That's the program being shared.
Yeah, I can see that. So when I open a file.
And when you share you'll have an option of sharing the entire screen or just an application. You may have shared just the application or just the file manager.
I apologize for that.
Yep.
I didn't.
No,
It's showing up on
you could, stop sharing and reshare.
Okay. Let me try this. Share your screen. Let's pull this up here.
There's my son.
Is that still not working?
Same
So
list.
just the file manager instead of Chrome itself.
Hmm.
Which one is it you wanted to share, Dave? The site plan?
I just wanted to show.
Oh, there we go. We got elevations of the
Yeah.
house.
This is great.
So
There you go.
as I scroll, can you see this?
Yep.
Yeah,
Pick one.
So this is what the single family structure will look like that I'm proposing. It's a look at my notes.
Let's
It's
scroll down
a-
a little bit more so we can see the plan, David. That's it, right there. Oh, you went by it. That's the most helpful to me anyway. I don't know about the rest of the committee.
Okay. All right, well, this is the plan. So right now, currently, there's a 3-unit building right here. This is the driveway. Just for a reference point, you can see my my mouse, correct?
Yes.
Okay, this is Route 20 right here, just for a reference point. This is Stone's motorcycle over here. So there's a current driveway that comes up along the right side of the multifamily. And there's parking in the back as well on the side right here. And what I'm proposing is to take down the single family that's right here and rebuild it. I've been to conservation. The Athabasca River is right here. So there's, straw wattles and hay bales and so forth that need to be set up to protect the washout and any, erosion control going towards the Assabet. Does anybody have any questions on this specific plan right here?
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay. All right, what I'll probably do now is stop sharing this if there isn't any questions for it, and we can go back and discuss the project if anyone else has any questions.
or actually, Dave, this is probably good with the house elevations here, because this shows then, how this would sit on the property. So you mentioned, rebuilding in the existing footprint. Does that mean you can reuse the existing foundation, or are you putting in a new foundation on that same space?
There's a rock foundation right now. So I'll be putting in a more structured foundation, a full foundation. So it'll be an 8-foot, concrete pour. There's some significant elevation changes here, as you can see. There's probably a 10-foot difference from right here to right here on the plan. I know it's kind of hard to read the elevations, from the computer, but that'll be more suitable just to hold up this part of the driveway and the sloping as well.
Okay, great. Fred, does it make sense to then move to your memo?
Yes. Yes, it
I
did.
guess I check. Anthony, Brian, any other questions on kind of the plan and the elevations?
No, I don't. No, it's fine.
Yeah, so Dave, go ahead and stop sharing, and then we'll be able to see everybody in the same spot here. And then Fred, if you would go through then your memo on your review.
Sure. The application is a bit unique. Originally, when David had submitted, his application indicates that he was applying for a special permit, but as a result of review internally, I believe the town planner and the building inspector determined that it wasn't eligible for a special permit, but rather a variance would be required to accomplish what he wants to do. And Dave, jump in if you have any more information on the history of that existing structure that you want to demolish and rebuild. There was a fire a number of years ago at some point, and it was never opted to be rebuilt by the original owner that he bought the property from. Staff's understanding is that the grandfathering that would have might have applied there has lapsed and is no longer available, and therefore a variance is required in order to have two principal uses on one property, because there's an existing multifamily unit and you can't have a single family as an accessory structure. So that's really the issue for the ZBA and the whole zoning aspect of it. My memo was targeted towards the issues around what we would look at for groundwater requirements. In the event that if the variance were granted by the ZBA, we would want to have some input as to what conditions they might put on it. That's where my letter kind of focuses. In terms of groundwater aspects of the proposal, it's pretty clear that it's okay. He's connecting to town water and town sewer. There's no limit on the amount of sewer capacity he would need under the septic system, as we would normally have with a multifamily use. There's conditions, but that generally is not an issue when it's connected to town sewer, which he's indicated that he's already connected, I think you said, David?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm already connected to town sewer, water.
For both
Yeah.
structures?
Yes, yep, both structures are currently accessible. Obviously, this unit has been detached,
Right.
Or cut off at the curb, but they are both accessible to sewer, water, electricity, and gas.
Yep. The utilities are in Main Street in front of the property. The review I did of the records up in the DPW, they're not currently connected, but they could be. And so all of the conditions of approval would be that they be connected. There'd be an as-built plan that shows everything. My memo talks about, item 1 talks about the applicant should submit documentation regarding documentation in accordance with section 707-010 D4A 1 through 5, which are the 5 things that you're supposed to submit when you're applying for a special permit. It talks about groundwater quality, underground storage, things like that. It's typically, it's just a matter of documenting a statement that says they're not going to have anything there that's toxic or hazardous, and that they're not going to impact the underlying groundwater supply. When it's single family, when it's residential development, it's not required that they have something from a qualified expert, simply because it's assumed that there won't be any storage or manufacture of hazardous chemicals, because it's not allowed in that use. David did submit a supplemental letter to me yesterday, and so that has been satisfied.
Excellent.
Although that residential development of a single family dwelling is permitted in area 3 in accordance with 70701 D1 C2. However, since a multifamily building already exists on the sites, any improvements should be made in accordance with section, and then I cite the section for multifamily stuff in a groundwater 3. Talks about impervious cover, septic loading, which is not an issue, as I just mentioned, and those kinds of items. Again, it's a variance. So what we're looking to do is to if you approve, if you want to recommend this, I don't want to speak for you, that the ZBA put some conditions that it would be treated, he would meet all the conditions of a special permit, even though he's applying for a variance. You don't want to give somebody a variance and say they don't have to do anything. We want to make sure that his use is consistent with what would be allowed if it was a special permit. Item 3 talks about the fact that the lot is big enough in the zone. It's more than 20,000 square feet, and it is proposed to be connected to town water and town sewer. Item 4, I mentioned that the proposed impervious cover needs to be confirmed. Again, it would probably, I'm guessing that it will meet the requirements, simply because anything that was existing there prior to 1986 would be grandfathered. He's not proposing anything new, but I would recommend that if he gets the special permit or the variance, that some recharge of roof runoff in order to infiltrate back into the ground might be appropriate to do at the time. Preferably both buildings, but at least the new building while he's digging the foundation, and be simple enough to put some dry wells in. Being in a groundwater area, the soils are expected to be conducive to recharge. And so that would be something I would ask you to consider for any recommendation. Item number 5 talks about a site plan. He's not proposing any increase to the impervious cover, but if the site plan requirements talk about adequate parking, drainage, location of utilities, things like that, if what we would want to do for the multifamily and for the new building to make sure there's adequate parking in accordance with the zoning and have it shown on a proper site plan. There are 2 plans in his application. One is labeled a site plan, but it's not stamped, and one is labeled a certified plot plan, but it is stamped, and that's just confirmation of where the buildings are on the property by a land surveyor. Item number 6 says a minimum of 1 permeability test should be performed when each of the areas to be utilized for infiltration. So in the event that he does go forward with the dry wells, that we have some kind of a permeability test verifying the assumptions that they make in how quickly the water will be absorbed into the ground are actually confirmed in the field. And then a final set of plans verifying that whatever he's required to do as an approval is documented on a plan, and then there'll be an as-built plan documenting that he built everything according to what was on that plan that was approved. Again, my recommendation was the site plan be a condition of approval of the variance, whereas I was not looking to require that now for the simple reason that he's asking for a variance, and should the variance not be granted, it would be unfair to require him to do a lot of engineering and design work at fairly costly amounts to getting something it's not required to get the variance. He needs to talk to the ZBA, plead his case about the 2 principal uses, and then if they were to agree to the variance, they could add these conditions of approval to be confirmed by myself, the town planner, the building inspector, working together with Mr. Cooley to confirm that he's got everything, he's got all his ducks in a row. All the bones to what he's applying for are there as terms of groundwater. The zoning aspect is a whole different element that you actually don't need to talk about, or you don't need to discuss if you don't want to.
Great, thanks, Fred, for that summary. And Dave, any issues, reservations with being able to do these items that Fred set out?
No issues at all. It seems like that's pretty standard practice. So I was, anticipating on having a checklist going forward as well. So, and I agree with Fred. If they do approve the variance, then we can look into those items, and whatever's needed, we'll get done. I guess that's what has to be done.
That sounds good. And so, Fred, some of those items, like recalculating impervious and all that, just helps us have documented, and
Yes.
and we do the recharge off the roofs. We're better protecting the river and all that, correct?
Correct. We're protecting the river, and we're also recharging the groundwater supply. The whole idea behind the impervious cover calculations is to give the building department a record of how much is impervious on the property on a certain date. So going forward, if he were to ask, if he wanted to build a shed or a tennis court or a swimming pool or something, that would give them a basis of knowing how much more impervious cover he's allowed to expand to without additional recharge being required. So it's something that we're trying to do to get the records up. This is an older house. There are no records of any impervious cover. I believe both of the structures and the driveway that are out there were all built well before 1986, and therefore they're grandfathered in that respect. It's the use of that accessory structure as another single family dwelling that falls under the zoning kind of caveat because of the fire/catastrophe that happened a number of years ago and wasn't opted to be rebuilt at that time.
Anthony, Brian, any questions on Fred's memo?
No, not on the memo, but just curious on the driveway, Dave. Were you
Yep.
making improvements, updates?
No, I'm replacing the existing house in the same footprint that was there. So there's more than adequate amount of parking already, because the parking lot was designed and built for a 3-unit and a single family as well. So there's plenty of parking there. I'm not looking to expand that at all.
I'm not really familiar with the property, and so the condition of the driveway is in decent shape?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
And just for the purpose of the minutes, Diane Goldner has joined us. Diane, you want to just go off mute here for a second, make sure you can hear us, we can hear you? She may still be reconnecting too. Yeah, Diane, if you can hear us, go off mute and give us a holler.
There, is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thanks, Diane.
It's like going through a thicket to get here, but that's okay.
Sounds good. I'll give you a moment to catch up, but ask Brian, did you have any questions on the memo or other questions?
No, it looks pretty straightforward to me.
Okay, and then finally, Diane, you may not have caught all the presentation, but the package was available. Did you have any questions?
No, not that I can remember.
Okay, and you had the benefit of when it came before Conservation Commission, right, to see it initially.
But no, I think that it was kind of done well.
Yeah, I think Scott, and the board at the end of the day, I watch, these meetings from time to time, and they talk about affordable housing in the downtown area. I think this is a perfect example of affordable housing that's located in the downtown district.
And being able to rehabilitate a structure that's not in use and get it going is a good plan.
Yes, sir.
Fred, any other considerations? Is the basically the decision before us is to recommend these conditions from your memo be given to the ZBA if the variance is approved is the gist, right?
Yes, that's pretty much it. The whole topic of the two principal uses is really a discussion for the ZBA to have, but in the event they were to grant the variance, I would want to make sure we're on record as David knowing what would be expected of him. There's no mechanism for him to come back to the groundwater committee because you're advisory and don't actually make a decision. And I wouldn't want to send him to the ZBA and then have him come back, continue that meeting, come back to you and then go back to the ZBA again. It seems cleaner this way because what he would need to do for groundwater improvements is pretty straightforward. And the whole discussion, the whole crux of what he's looking for is a discussion for the ZBA to have, and whether groundwater is not going to be a hurdle is what I'm looking at.
Sounds good. Any other discussion?
No.
And if someone has a formulated motion and wants to make it, I'll give you a chance. Otherwise, I'll try to do my best and entertain one.
Yeah, I'll play Twister. I make a motion that should the special permit granting authority approve the application for 80 Main Street, they apply the conditions listed on the letter from the town engineer dated October 7th to the Groundwater Advisory Committee as conditions to approval. Or not approval for us, but approval from them.
So you're okay if I just take out the stuff that he's already met and the things that were, what I'm looking for is number 3, to confirm that he's connected to water and sewer. Number 4, that he does the impervious cover calculation and that he captures roof runoff to dry wells for each of the buildings. Is that make sure everyone's okay with that, including David. It doesn't seem, if you're gonna have a machine out there and you're digging a foundation, digging a couple more holes for dry wells to
Yeah,
recharge the runoff.
The only issue I have with the 3-unit to try to dig that and put them into dry wells, and you know, my regular job company, we do this often. So on the right side of the house, if you're looking at the front of it, that's the driveway, and on the left side of the house would be the only area you'd be able to install these. You know, the gentleman that lives below there that has 2 commercial buildings, there's probably a 17-foot grade change from my building to his. I don't know if that would probably be the right answer to tie those in. Looking at, you know, it's a significantly larger building. You know, I mean, I'll do whatever you guys want. The ball's in your court. I probably would, you know, like to have a meeting in person on the property with you, Fred, and discuss the 3-unit in person. And if we can come up with an idea that you think is going to be successful, I'm more than happy to do that. But just remember, you only got one area to put that recharge system in, you know.
Kind of in the front of the building towards Main Street, I would think. Are there gutters on there now?
Yes.
Are there downspouts? Do you know by any chance, do they discharge to the surface or do they go into the
Discharge
ground?
this. They discharge to the surface.
So perhaps it might be the condition could be that the recharge of the existing structure, the existing 3-family structure, would recharge as much of the roof as possible without damaging the
I'm fine with
driveway.
that. I just don't want to hold myself accountable and
Right.
do something that's going to impact my neighbors.
Right. Well, the dry well shouldn't impact your neighbors. You would want to put it where the downspouts come down, maybe 10, 12, 15 feet away from the foundation. So you're not introducing water close to the foundation, but certainly you're better off if you're discharging to a dry well than you're discharging to the ground where it could run downhill onto your neighbor's property. So you're actually improving their position better. But the goal is not to have you have to rip up the driveway to put these dry wells in. If the downspouts come down in the location in the corner, the 2 corners of the building closest to Main Street, that would be the place to do it.
Okay.
So I can modify that to include the existing 3-family structure as much as practical and all of the other building if it's rebuilt.
Yes, sir.
Great, thanks for that. I was just zooming in on a street view too, just to see the front of the existing and some of the downspouts and gutters. Okay, that makes sense. So without the formality of an amended motion, I think Anthony's motion still covers the intent of your memo and existing conditions. Bryant seconded that. Any further discussion?
No.
All right, this would be a roll call vote. Anthony?
Aye.
Bryant?
Aye.
Diane?
I'm going to abstain.
And I will vote aye as well. So that motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. I mean 3 with 1 abstention. Fred, anything more on that topic? We can let Dave go.
Not for me. If any
All
of you have
right.
any questions, I'm here to answer them if I can, but I think that covers it. I know that he's on the agenda with the ZBA for Tuesday, October 25th. I will prepare a memo for the ZBA summarizing our discussion and your recommendation.
All right, thank you much. Mr. Cooley, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And God bless America.
Good luck, David.
Thank you.
Fred, I think next on the agenda, we've got 2 sets of minutes. Do we have them May 10th and September 15th?
Yes, I believe I sent them both to you, the correct ones this time. Melanie was going to join us today, but I don't see her on my list, and I know that she went home sick earlier today from her other job, not feeling well, so I can scribble down any corrections that you might have. I know that Scott had already sent me one. But if there's anything else,
Let's-
people want to take them up, let's do them one at a time.
Yeah, let's start with the May 10th. Were there any corrections or comments on those?
Yeah, I think I did. If you can just give me a minute to find it.
Looked fine to me.
So on, if I've got the right one, so this is May 10th?
Yep.
Correct. So in the motion, it says Ms. Capibianco made a motion to recommend approval of the application. And I think we're trying to get away from that recommendation. We're making approvals at all. We're just applying conditions. Should it be approved by the SPGA?
Yes, let's see how we're going to word that. I thought I had caught that, but I didn't. Made a motion to recommend the conditions outlined in the memo, the TE memo, if approved. How's that? Something like that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's do that. Okay. That work for everyone?
That sounds good. Any other changes?
No, for me.
I'll entertain a motion to approve as amended.
I make a motion, we approve the May 10th minutes.
Any second?
Second.
Second,
Thanks. Okay, that'll be a roll call vote as well. Anthony,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
Bryant,
aye.
and I will abstain, so that'll pass 3 with one abstention. And then the minutes for the 15th, yeah, I had found a small correction, a TI that needed to be changed to TO in the second page. Any other corrections there?
I don't.
All right, if none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the September 15th minutes.
So moved.
Try to make it easy for you. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Thank you. And a roll call as well. Anthony,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
Bryant,
Aye.
Scott is also aye. Fred, any other business before this committee?
No, just the
Next date.
potential next meeting. I had it on the agenda as November 8th, if necessary. I don't know as of today if we're going to need to meet that day or not. So I would ask you to keep your calendars open, and I will know probably in a week, or let's see, today is the 11th. They usually close the agenda about a month before, so probably within the next 2 weeks, I will know if we're going to meet. If you don't hear from me, assume we are not, but I will, I'll reach out to you as soon as I confirm whether or not we have any applications. I'm not aware of any at the moment.
Excellent.
And
Anything else from committee members?
No.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. This is our last roll call for this evening. Anthony,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
Brian,
Aye.
and Scott is also aye. Thank you so much. Thanks, Fred, for organizing this and putting it through.
good night, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you on the 11th.
Sounds
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.